What's up guys, Brendan back here and today with another video on the channel, and today we are counting down the top 10 best movies of 2022. So yeah, pretty self-explanatory. I've done this in previous years. Back in 2020 I actually did a ranking of the worst to best movies of 2020 that came out of the year, and I was going to do that also for last year, and I filmed it. Never got released because it was a really long video. It was like I ranked like, I don't know, 41, 42 movies, which even going through like the cliff notes of that was not feasible to do as one video, really wasn't. So this year I decided, okay, I'm just going to do a top 10 best movie video and a top 10 worst movie video. This will be easier for me, quicker, hopefully easy to edit. Let's see how this goes. So of course, it's all my opinion. I'll be going through all the cliff notes in these movies about why I think they're great. But of course, if you want to see some more longer, in-depth reviews in these movies, you can go check out the reviews I did on the channel this year. Wait, no. Actually, wait, I only reviewed one of these films on the channel this year on this list. So, okay, so there's at least one video on the channel this year of me reviewing one of these movies, but if you want to see some more longer, in-depth reviews on these films, you can go check out my letterbox. I reviewed all of them over there. I'll leave the link for it down in the description below. Some of them are not as long as others, but still, you'll get like the general gist of them as well there, so yeah, go check it out, link down below. But of course, before you do that, let's get into the video, shall we? So, let's begin the top 10 best movies of 2022 in my opinion, starting with number 10. Also, if I go into spoilers for some of these movies, I will put a tag at the start before each movie to say if I will, and I'll tell you to skip to this time code if you don't want spoilers. Number 10 is The Atom Project. So when this film came out, a lot of people were basically saying that it was a good movie, but, you know, nothing too, like, original or groundbreaking or changing that much of it. It's just a very standard, basic, but good movie, which it very much is. Look, honestly, I love Sean Levy, the director of this film. I love all his work, really. I love the Night Museum movies. Free Guy was a lot of fun. He also helps produce Stranger Things, which is a great show. So honestly, like, I'm always down to see some of his work. I feel like, honestly, he's kind of like almost a modern-day Robert Zemeckis, like, you know, before, you know, Robert Zemeckis' work started going downhill a bit. So, like, you know, of course, you know, back in the day with Back to the Future and, like, Roger Rabbit, those were some classic, like, you know, adventure, but also comedy kind of films. And, like, that's what I kind of feel with Levy for me. I think his films are, like, they're a lot of fun and warm and comforting and have some nice messages in them, and I think Atom Project is also one of them. It's a lot of fun, you know, again, of course, like I said, nothing too amazing or groundbreaking for them, but it's just a lot of fun. Like, I love seeing Ryan Reynolds interact off his, like, younger version of himself. It's a lot of fun and some interesting stuff happens with those two characters. Plus, the actor playing the younger Ryan Reynolds, Walker Scobell, is amazing. Like, you can really see, like, the younger Reynolds in him. It's really good. Like, the timing and energy and the way he performs him, just, it's great. It's like almost exactly like him. There's some solid humor in the movie. There's some pretty good action in the film with some, you know, lightsaber-esque stuff. It's pretty solid action overall. We got some solid performances from a lot of great actors in this. Like, of course, we got Ryan Reynolds and Mark Ruffalo and Jennifer Gardner and Zoe Saldana. Like, just some great actors in it overall. And, you know, it's just, and there's a nice message also, of course, at the end of the movie when, you know, Ruffalo then reveals to him that he did figure out that he probably does die in the future. And there's that really nice scene of just him playing catch with his two sons, the younger one and the older one. It's just a nice little kind of heartwarming thing to end on, and, like, kind of helps re-invoke in the future to, like, you know, just enjoy the time you have and all that kind of stuff with your loved ones, and don't, like, waste stuff, and make sure you tell them you love them and all that stuff, and give people nice big hugs for everyone. It's like, I don't know, it was really nice. It was a nice way to end that movie. I thought it was just good. So yeah, to me, this was just a solid way to end this movie. And the movie overall, it's a very fun movie. It's a very engaging, very fun. I quite enjoyed it a lot. So yeah, Atom Project, 8 out of 10. Number 9 is Hustle. Talk about a win for Adam Sandler here. This film is solid. It just, of course, it's not his typical comedy stuff. It's a more serious, dramatic movie, and it works greatly. I mean, of course, a lot of Adam Sandler's films are not great. They're all just not very funny, of course, but Sandler himself is not a bad actor. He's always been a good actor, and, like, here, he really does shine. You really feel, of course, him playing this coach wanting to mentor this younger basketball player, Bo. It's really solid stuff. You can really feel, like, the friendship they're kind of forming in the movie. It feels just like a great, like, mentor and mentoree, like, relationship. It's really solid. It works on a lot of levels in the movie, like, with their bantering and, like, their relaying back and forth, and, like, Sandler giving him, like, some inspiring speeches of words. Like, there's, like, I mean, this one scene in particular with Sandler was great.
Obsession's gonna be talent every time. You got all the talent in the world, but are you obsessed? Is it all you ever think about? Let's face it, it's you against you out there. When you walk on that court, you have to think, I am the best guy out there. I don't care if LeBron's playing.
And even other stuff. Like, there's other stuff in the film that, like, feels like it's typical Adam Sandler stuff, but it's done well. Like, of course, in the opening of the movie, there's, of course, that sequence where he's traveling around the world trying to find the next basketball player, and he makes a joke saying how, of course, I'm eating at all the exotic places, but it's just fast food joints from different parts of the world, like McDonald's and Burger King and Wendy's and whatever. And like, normally in other Adam Sandler films, that would just feel like forced product placement, but here they acknowledge it's a joke. It's actually a well done joke where it's like, yeah, I'm traveling the world eating all the exotic foods when it's just all the normal stuff you get in the States as it is. So like, that's a good joke. Like, that works. And the journey you see the character of Bo go on is great. Seeing him, of course, start off in this kind of like crappy neighborhood with his mom and his like kid and everything. It's like kind of like that. Or was his sister? I can't forget. It was a mom or sister. To see him go beyond that and learn to become a basketball player and learn, you know, how to be better also and learn from Sandler. It's a great little story arc you got for those two characters. Like, they really elevate each other together in the movie. Now, there's stuff I had problems a bit in it. Like, the one character of Kermit who like nags on Bo, he feels a little over top to me. It's just like, okay, you're a bit too much here, buddy. I don't know, felt a little too much for me, that character. And also, why the hell is Robert Duvall in this for like 5 minutes maybe? Or 10? I don't know. Like, this major actor, and he's like barely in. He dies like off screen. And I thought it's gonna be a flashback of him later on. No, he just was in the movie to say some stuff, then die. Like, why? This difference in The Godfather. Why is he just randomly in this movie for like briefly any minute of screen time? I don't know. It's just weird, that part to me. The pacing also at the start of the film was not the greatest. It kind of felt like we were just jumping to one location to another. It felt very quick. But, you know, once we meet up with Bo, the film's pacing does start to get a lot better. And, yeah, it's overall a very great movie about, of course, just challenging yourself and overcoming odds. It's a great film. And honestly, I wish, and I think Sandler should do more films like this intermittently in between. Like, I mean, of course, he's always gonna do his comedy films, his like those dumb, silly movies that are most of the time not like great, really. But also, like, if he can mix like once a year, maybe does a comedy and does one of these movies, I think that could really better and really help his career a lot. I mean, like, this shows he has a lot of potential. Like, I feel like if he does a lot more of these, like, intermittently with or interchangeably with his comedy films, this could just be a great thing for him. I really want to see him in more of these kind of films. So yeah, Hustle, I gave it a 7 out of 10. So yeah, it's definitely a lower rating than the last film, but, you know, I did actually kind of personally prefer this one over Adam Project more, so yeah, it gets a little up spot higher, even though the rating is slightly lower, so yeah, but still, 7 out of 10, great movie. Number 8 is Prey. Talk about a surprise of a movie. I mean, like, most people I imagine were not too anticipated about this new Predator movie. I mean, maybe there were some, like, of course, die-hard Predator fans, but, like, most Predator films were not great. I mean, after the first one, it suffers like a similar thing with Alien. Well, at least Alien 2 was good, but still, you know what I mean? Like, all the other Predator movies were just not that good. And I only really watched the first one for the first time in preparation to watch this one to at least get the gist of the series. And yeah, all I knew is that all the Predator films past the first one were not good. So like, I was not expecting much from this. I wasn't really thinking about it that much, but everyone's saying it was great, and I watched it, and it is great. Like, it's really solid. It's honestly it's amazing that they actually managed to pull off another great Predator movie. And like, it works. Like, of course, it's set in the past, so it's like a prequel, I guess, but like, it works though. It's not intentionally trying to be a prequel to like the first one. It's being its own story. Like, I think the idea of setting in this like back in the 1700s with this like Native American tribe was a great idea, because putting the Predator in this backdrop land of like set in the past with like no technology or anything, or not like with these people who have like, you know, very primitive weapons. A lot of it's just like bow and arrows and tomahawks and all that. It's just like, it adds to the tension and the action a lot, because it's just like, you have to be more clever. You can't set up like more clever and like special thinking. What's the word I'm trying to look for here? Like, you know what I mean? You don't have Schwarzenegger here setting up all these kind of like tactical military-based traps. You just have these tribal people doing what they know best, and that's just hunting. And it just adds to the tension, the action greatly here. It's just really solid in the movie. I mean, honestly, the action in the movie alone, I think I prefer way better than the first one. The first one is good. Of course, it's like back in the 80s, so of course technology was a little bit lower back then. It was still good, but my god, the action in this film was like almost, some of the violence is almost on par of a Mortal Kombat like fatality or something like that. Like, I mean, of course, makes sense he was in one of the games, but like, I mean, oh my god, like, it's just, it was insane to me. I was like, my god, like, it was crazy. Like, that one part where he like opens the shield and then just like slices that guy's head off. It's like my god. Nauru was also a great lead character to follow. Of course, some of the bow in the last movie with Hustle, it's showing her like, you know, against all the odds, the people saying that you can't be a hunter, you're just not experienced, you're not as well trained as the others. But of course, by the end of the movie, she shows that she's a hunter and she is great at what she can do, and she did it her way. It's a great story, and she's a good character to follow. And yeah, it just like, I mean, there's not much to say for me to say about this film because it's a short movie. It's like an hour 40, like an hour 30 maximum because of course the last 10 minutes of credits. So it's a very short movie. You can get through it quickly, and it's a blast to watch. I mean, like it's also a lot of it's not with dialogue. I mean, there is dialogue in the movie, but I feel like more so in the first Predator, there's like very limited dialogue in certain chunks of the film, which just adds the tension and just visual storytelling. It works on such a good level in this movie. It just adds to like. It's a lot of fun, honestly. It's a great fun time, this movie. There's some great music in the film. There's some beautiful cinematography in some of the shots. I mean, some of them look great. And there's also some other stuff here that I think just are a little bit better than the first one and why I kind of prefer this one a little bit more. I mean, again, the two movies are separated by 30 years, so there's like differences in how they're made, of course, but there's just stuff about this I think is just much more engaging in how it's done and handled. I mean, of course, especially like with how they handle the threat of the Predator. I like how the tension's really there, and also the reveal of the Predator. I mean, I think the reveal of the Predator, the first time you see him in the first movie, is not that great because it's just like a really quick shot of him in the tree, uncamouflaged. This is like the proper build-up shot. There's like a lot of like just interesting tension, just cool imagery showing what he looks like with like stuff like, you know, when blood goes on him and you can see him in camouflage mode, like what he sort of looks like in the silhouette, and then you see him, like it's good build, I think. I mean, it's a blast. I can't say much else about the film. There's not much really else to talk about. It's just a solid movie. If you haven't watched it, go check it out. It's a ton of fun. If you like Predator, you're gonna like this. If you've never seen Predator before, you don't really need to see the first one to watch this. This one's a separate story on its own. It's solid. It's great. It's just a great movie. Fun time. 8 out of 10. Go check out Prey. Number 7 is The Fabelmans. Spielberg does it again. Of course, in these last few years, he's been on a different approach to his directing style of movies and what kind of project he chooses in comparison to his older days of Indiana Jones, Jurassic Park. And his movies these days are very good. Like West Side Story was an excellent movie. This one also very excellent. I mean, of course, it's kind of like what I heard from like my dad and some other people, that it's kind of meant to be kind of based off Spielberg's life, which I definitely can see that. It's definitely meant to be kind of like a partial. It's not like, of course, not about Spielberg himself. The main character is not named Steven, but like you can definitely see the influence from that. As of course, a young kid like back in like the 40s, like 40s and 50s, he's like learning to love like cinema in the early days, and also he's Jewish, which so is Spielberg also in his background. So definitely inspired by him, as of course. But the movie's a big love letter to cinema and of course the early days, and just. Like for me, who does love like kind of making stories and like movies and stories, like it was definitely a interesting watch for me, seeing like this kid and how he grows to love the movies and what makes him love the movies. Like that whole opening stuff of like him seeing that train in the movie and how he needs to have like he wants to start doing that like with a model train set and wants to be able to control it to make a scene good. I think was really great. And other stuff like how he thinks about like poking holes in like film to like get the illusion of a gunfire going off, like making a bright light, which it's clever stuff. I thought it was really interesting stuff. Sammy himself is a very interesting character. I think he's a great lead character to follow in this movie. It's a great arc you see him kind of go on. And the rest of the acting in the movie is also great. You got Michelle Williams and Paul Dano and Seth Rogen and Judd Hirsch, who got an Oscar nomination for like a 10-minute scene. Like, how does that happen? Like, it's about as random as when Don Cheadle got nominated for a 7-minute scene at the Emmys for Falcon Winter Soldier. It's random to me, even though I did enjoy Judd Hirsch just showing up out of nowhere for like 10 minutes, freaks Sammy out, and then just leaves and pisses off and never be seen again in the movie. That's amazing. But again, to get back to the acting really carries the movie greatly. I mean, of course, with the writing, the directing, like the acting really elevates it a lot. Like, my favorite scene in the movie is when Sammy reveals to his mom that he found out via his like footage record on their family vacation that he found that his mom has been cheating on his dad with his friend Benny. And like that scene of like when Michelle Williams like she is watching the video footage of this, and you don't see the video footage, you see her reaction, and then she starts breaking down crying. And even before then, when like they start getting mad at each other, it's like that's a great. Like honestly, like when that scene happened, I was like, okay, you know what? I love this movie. Somehow this scene like really got me. I thought it was like really well executed scene. That one scene alone, I thought was great. Like that scene alone, like yeah, I can definitely see why Michelle Williams was like nominated for an actress for this. Like I thought that scene was great. Now, it does get a little bit slow as we get near in the movie. Like, when we get to California, it does get a little bit slow, but not too much, so it's still pretty good and pretty interesting. Yeah, it's a really solid movie. If you love seeing this kind of stuff about the early days of Hollywood and people, like, kind of learning to fall in love with movie making, it's a great movie for that. Spielberg knocks it out of the park again. Fantastic performances, great script. It's a great movie, so check out The Fabelmans. 8 out of 10. Number 6 is Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. The first Knives Out was a great surprise, and so is this one. Rian Johnson knows how to tell a murder mystery story with a great, interesting twist he puts in the middle of the movie. Like, seriously, when that big plot twist reveal happens in the movie where they reveal that Cassandra is not the real Cassandra, that she's actually dead and this is her twin sister, and that her and Benoit Blanc have actually been working together off screen since before the movie even started, really, and they start showing, all the stuff they were doing before they got on the island, and all the stuff they were doing together on the island. When all that was happening, my brain was going off. I was like, oh my god, what? That was happening? Oh, that's why that makes sense. When my brain starts going crazy like that, just, all the pistons are going off, just seeing all this, then I know the movie's doing something right. If it's doing something right, it's get my brain just absolutely just on fire seeing all these reveals, in a good way. It definitely is doing something right. And the humor is still solid. It's very good humor. Daniel Craig, he still kills it as Benoit Blanc. You can definitely tell he probably likes playing this character more in James Bond. So, I love seeing him play this character. And again, solid cast all around. We got Edward Norton, Kate Hudson, Dave Bautista, Catherine Hahn. It's a great cast. It's a solid cast all around. Just incredible. Now, on one hand, I'm kind of conflicted on some stuff in the movie, mainly with when we found that the twin sister actually was not shot in the middle of the movie, which we found way later on, which I was kind of conflicted on that, because I'm I don't know, I kind of like that her death kind of provides LeBlanc with much more tension to solve this mystery now, but then when she does get revealed to be alive, this leads to some interesting stuff and a fun ending near the end. So I don't know, it's kind of conflicting a bit, that part for me. So I don't know, it's a little conflicting, that whole bit there. But I mean, overall, it's a great mystery. I mean, they do a good job of letting you know, giving you hints about why all these people might want to could be the murderer, why they would be the murderer. It's all good stuff. And yeah, all the actors carry these performances very well and charismatic. What the hell's the word? Charismatically, that's the word. They all do that. Great. Not even gonna try to say it again, man. Probably screwed up. Also, huge shout out to making Dave Bautista the YouTuber or / streamer in the movie. I support that. We're finally bringing the YouTubers in the mainstream. Hell yeah, Rian John, let's go. You and me, let's do this. I will say I do prefer Knives Out a little bit more, just a little bit more, mostly because that film is just, the entertainment factor is just a little bit better there. It's just a lot more fun, that movie. But still, the reveal in this movie was great. I do think the reveal, I don't know, I have to watch the first one again, but the reveal here was great. But I do prefer the first one a little bit more, just due to the entertainment factor with that one. But still, solid movie, Glass Onion, go check it out. Can't wait for the next one. 8 out of 10. Number 5, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Talk about a film that had just a uphill battle to beat as it was coming out. But of course, with the tragic loss of Chadwick Boseman, the film had to change direction drastically as they chose to not recast the role of T'Challa, which of course was a big split among fans. Now, I will say that I'm personally very okay with them not recasting T'Challa, because I do think Chadwick was great as that role, so I'm fine not recasting the role. But of course, I do understand and respect other people who want them to recast the role, so I do respect those opinions. So of course, no one's opinion in this movie was wrong about how they should have handled it, because it's a very sensitive and touchy matter about how they go along with this. But I still, without Chadwick or T'Challa in the movie, I still think they pull it through very well. Of course, the Ryan Coogler, he and the cast, they all are very close there, so they knew they wanted to craft a good story, and they do. The story, of course, does involve T'Challa's passing and or Chadwick's passing in a great way, but it's not a major, it's not the main driving force. It is for a good part of it in some areas, but it's not really in your face majorly a driving force to the point where it's they're almost banking off Chadwick's in real life death. They handle it very well and very respectfully, so which that's the best you can ask for. That's definitely it's the best you can ask for that. And I kind of like this one more than the first one. I thought the first one was good. I definitely think there's problems with it a bit. Of course, there's some, of course, the final battle's not great. There's some stuff in the middle that I'm not too big of a fan of. This one, though, I think is just a little bit better. I like the story a bit more. I like a lot of the drama here a bit more. And also, the final battle, definitely way times better than the first one. The first film had really rushed, not great CGI for that one. Plus the rhinos, and the setting for that final battle was not great. This one feels like the emotions and the drama are all tense, and you really feel it there. It's great. And a lot of the arcs these characters go on in the film are great. The arc that Shuri goes on to, of course, becoming the new Black Panther, I think it works well. They do a great job of transitioning this character who was much more playful and fun and kind of quirky in the first film to this now much more dramatic and sensitive character after her brother passed. And Baku also got a great arc, and you can see him, like, after, of course, now he helps out in the last film, they start to show they have a lot more respect and trust for him, and you see just that arc for him was great. Just, yeah, a lot of great stuff. And of course, everyone's talked about Angela Bassett in the film. She gives a fantastic performance. Like that one scene where she talks about how her whole family is gone. An amazing line delivery from her. It's a great performance, honestly. Absolutely understand why she got nominated for an Oscar. It's a great performance. And action overall, really solid. There's some fantastic action in the movie. It's like very clean. You can see what's happening and just slick. It's great. And the villain Namor also, like I do think Killmonger's a better villain because his story was just really engaging. Namor is still good too. I like his story a lot. Also, his performance is great and his backstory is awesome. You know, and they definitely feel a lot of the tension with him and Shuri. You know, he works great as a villain. Of course, I do think Killmonger is just slightly better, but he's still very good as a villain. If I were to pick out some stuff that I didn't like that much, I would say the stuff with Everett Ross in the film is not that great. I mean, I like the character Everett Ross. I thought he was a lot of fun in the last film, but his side stuff here is not the most engaging here. It really wasn't. I was very fine with Ironheart as a character. I don't hate that character. I don't love the character yet. Upon rewatching the film, I'll probably maybe make a more decision on her, and also when her series comes out. So yeah, I thought she was a fine, good character though. So there's that. Even with this film's like long runtime of like 2 hours and 40-some minutes, like it doesn't feel that long. It feels pretty quick and short. Like it gets like feels like maybe 2 hours 10 minutes maybe. Like it feels like it goes by quick, which I think is done with the writing and pacing being good in this film. And also, ironically, the film had like underwater blue people, which then Avatar came out next month, which is ironic. But yeah, honestly, overall, I think this one's like better than the first Black Panther in some ways. I mean, they're both good movies. But this one, I think is just a little bit better in a few key areas. And also, like, I think it was great. Like, I know, of course, a lot of people had their judgments about the film, but I think mostly a lot of people were won over by it. And I was not too like scared about the film being bad or not, because the side cast of Black Panther, like the supporting cast of Black Panther, was one of the best of the MCU. Like all the side characters were very interesting, very fun, some great actors playing them. So I was not too scared about that because these are all some great actors and performers in the movie. I will say the Kia still kind of didn't get a lot of great stuff to play with in the film. They kind of like brush her off to the side a bit still for a good chunk of the film before you meet up with her. So there's that. But overall, I think Wakanda Forever is a great emotional movie about. It handles like trauma well, and also passing of Chadwick, and just, you know, there's some great action. It's a great movie. The story, a lot of it's about trauma and dealing with that. All done very well. I thought it was a great film. So yeah, 8 out of 10 for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Number 4, Top Gun: Maverick. Again, this is another surprise. Like, I mean, how many people were really expecting Top Gun to be the sequel to Top Gun, a film that came out years ago that I'm not really sure how much demand there was for a sequel? How did this film come out and end up being one of the best of the year? Like, honestly, like, I watched the first Top Gun, I thought it was fine. It's not something I loved, but I thought it was a fine, decent film. And this was not really something I was that excited for. I was gonna go see it. The trailers did look interesting enough. Like, the plane stuff looked pretty good in the trailers. But yeah, it was not something I was too thrilled about, too excited for. Plus, when, of course, the pandemic hit, the film got delayed a lot. I think it was the final film that was delayed out of 2020 into... That was delayed out of 2020, so it took a long time for this film to come here, and it was great. And it's kind of surprising because honestly, it does a lot of similar stuff that you expect from like sequels and reboots that just copy off their prior movies, like stuff like I don't know, Anchorman 2 or Ghostbusters 2 or Force Awakens is one people will say. Even though I do like The Force Awakens, but yeah, all these movies do copy off their predecessor film. They just kind of do the same stuff they do, you know, just like copy off because, you know, oh, the first film was great. Let's just redo that stuff again, and to acknowledge that first stuff because you all like that stuff, because that's what got you to watch the first one. You want to see something new though. You want to see them repeat the first one, and in ways Top Gun does that too. There's a lot of similar stuff they repeat. You know, there's a similar like rivalry between, you know, Swan. What the hell was his call sign always? Rooster. There's a similar rivalry with Rooster and Hangman to that of Maverick and Iceman in the first movie. Rooster does a similar stuff, like he plays like Great Balls of Fire on the piano in a similar outfit that his dad does in the first film. They do the volleyball scene in this movie also. Like, there's a lot of stuff in here that copies off the first movie, but it's done in a way where they handle it well and it's meaningful. It's all there for reasons. Like, Rooster also plays Great Balls of Fire not as just a reference thing, like, oh, you get it. It's there to kind of like be this emotional trauma, a quick trauma moment for Maverick, seeing like his old buddy and his son, who he doesn't want to let down and also doesn't want him to die like his father and fail him like he did his father, That's great stuff. And the volleyball scene is there also, like, to build team morale. Like, he acknowledged that, you know, it's what we did back in my day, and it's building team morale. Like, they do this greatly. They handle it well. It's like a good sequel should. And, like, again, as everyone has always said, the fighter jet sequences in this film are stellar. Like, on the big screen, they were amazing to watch, especially in IMAX. It was like, oh, beautiful. I mean, like, seriously, they just, like, of course, because it was real. They shot those for real, and they feel real, they look real. It's some tense, all the fighter jet stuff scenes, they're all some great tense action. The performances also are all solid in this movie. Tom Cruise gives a great performance here, so does a lot of the other actors like Glenn Powell and Jennifer Connelly and John Hamm and Miles Teller, who's someone I've never been like that big a fan of, mostly because I saw him in Fan Four Stick. He was not great in that, but he's really great in this film. Like, he's great. I like him. This is my favorite scene.
I saved your life. That's the whole point. What the hell were you even thinking?
You told me not to think.
Well, it's good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
Or more or less, my favorite comedy scenes. It's funny. And also Val Kilmer's return. I will admit, I would have liked maybe a little bit more from Kilmer in the movie, but I do understand that probably was maybe hard to include him because, you know, he was going through like cancer with his throat at times. It was hard. But still, his inclusion in the movie was a great scene. It's a very like turning point for the film, for Maverick, for him telling that he should not quit, that Rooster and Top Gun, they need him. It's a great scene, of course. It's great seeing Val Kilmer in the limited time he has in the movie, and even them using AI to help enhance his voice so he can talk is great. So yeah, it's just an adrenaline rush of a movie. It was a really nice surprise. It was just a lot of fun. So yeah, Top Gun Maverick, 8 out of 10. So these next two movies I'm kind of in between on for these next two slots, but for now this is the current placing I'm putting for both of them. At number 3 is Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I'm just waiting for the hate comments coming in here to say, oh, you put this one on number 3, it should be number 1. I get it. Of course, if you heard about this movie, it was like one of the most highly, or was the most highly praised movie of the year. Like, you know all those memes here about Morbius being the movie of movies? This was the movie of years, like of the year. Like, it was like one, people were saying it's one of the best films of the last decade, of the whole like century. Like, people are going crazy about how great this movie was, and it's fantastic. Like, it's a multiverse film, but it's like doing its own like unique and interesting stuff. Like, it's really interesting how they handle the multiverse stuff with, like, you know, oh, anything you can do will lead you down different paths. So like the characters do like these certain things to lead down different paths and gain them new ability, and like you see these crack walls in reality. Like, the actors have to go like just so many like different levels of performances they have to give this movie. All the actors like Michelle Yeoh, Jamie Lee Curtis, I'm gonna try and pronounce this guy's name, Ke Huy Quan. Also, speaking of Ke Huy Quan, he's fantastic in this film. I mean, of course, this was his first acting role since like Encino Man, I think it was. Like, and he's fantastic. Like, I mean, honestly, everyone is great in this film. Like I said, they all have to play like so many levels of performances, and they're all great. Michelle Yeoh, especially, she's also fantastic in this movie. Just, my God. I mean, of course, you can see why there's all this praise to the film, and also the action's also insane. Like, if you were to tell me that one of the best fight sequences of the year was Ke Huy Quan, the kid who played friggin' Short Round of Indiana Jones, making a comeback and doing a fight scene with a fanny pack was one of the best fight scenes of the year, I would not believe you. I'd be like, the hell are you talking about? You sound high. But it was fantastic. I mean, like, it goes off the wall crazy, but in a great way and creative way. I will admit, there's some stuff like the hot dog sequence in the movie, which I won't spoil that one. But yeah, if you know the movie, you know what I'm talking about. That was a little bit too much for me. And I will admit, it does slightly go on a bit too long at the end, but still, it's a really great film. Honestly, like, it's definitely gonna win the Oscars this year. So yeah. Everything Everywhere All at Once, if you've not seen it yet, a fantastic movie that's just about the multiverse and also this family kind of falling apart. It's great, just everyone's just fantastic, and some great fight scenes and visuals. Fantastic, engaging, interesting movie. Check it out. 9 out of 10. Number 2 is Bullet Train. I can't wait to see what some people's reaction to this, me putting this one above this one. For me, honestly, Bullet Train hit all the right marks it needed to for me to really enjoy this film, and truly, it's a blast of the film. Like, honestly, the marketing wasn't too great for the film. It was mostly just a very decent, fine marketing. I was interested in seeing it, but not too hyped for it. But I now see why the marketing was not the greatest, because they were trying to hide the story of the movie, because the action alone is great, but like the best part I think of this film, almost too good for its own good, is the story. Like this story they have in the film is so well crafted, I think. Like it's like every little thing, like all the characters and every little damn thing they do, the most minorest of things. Like there's a whole thing with this like this snake at one point, a minor thing. Like it all has like parts to play, like interweaving, intertwining, whatever. Like just it all comes back into play throughout the movie, and by the end, like it all comes together and everything feels like it was paid off. That was set up. Like it's insane. I don't think I ever seen a movie where every goddamn thing they did or said had something to play later on in the movie. Like it's kind of crazy. Like I couldn't. It was really nuts. Honestly, like for example, like one thing I'll say is that when the character of Lemon, when he early on in the movie, he says he has a bulletproof vest, which like it's a one-time line he says. It's never said again. It's never brought up again. And then he gets shot, of course, and you think he died, which sucks. But then he comes back to life. And like at first I was like, wait, what? And then he shows he has the bulletproof vest on, and I'm like, oh yeah, they did say that way early on, which in other movies I would say that's lame because like, oh, conveniently the bulletproof vest was there, but they set it up early to let you know that it was there, so when it does happen, like, it's not stupid. I mean, you may think it's stupid, I don't know, but I think it was done well. It was like, okay, yeah, that was set up earlier, so it actually does make sense. And plus, they established why he was still passed out for a while, because Brad Pitt's character, Ladybug, just drugged him along with sleeping pills, so there's that. And like, honestly, like, just, there's so many fun characters, and like, the fact this film takes place all on this one train, like in this confined area, like, it's a really well done. Like, honestly, it's based off a book, apparently, which you can definitely tell. It's just a thrill ride. There's a lot of insane, like, action, some fun humor, just a really incredible movie. I just think it's a lot of fun, honestly. That's why, to me, I do slightly prefer it over Everything Everywhere All at Once. This film I definitely would watch for more times. It's a lot of fun. It's crazy. Yeah, Bullet Train, 9 out of 10. But again, these two films are kind of like, I did go back and forth on it for the number 2 and number 3 spots, so in a way you could say they're both on those spots, so whatever. And finally, number 1 is The Batman. Yeah, I'm a superhero guy, I'm a DC guy, Batman's my favorite guy, so, you know, of course I love The Batman. And honestly, Batman, it was a great film. You know, I got to see this, like, this is, of course, this is the one movie I have a review for on the channel, so go check that out. It was not a spoiler review, so I'll actually go into spoilers for this one here. So, yeah, The Batman, it was just absolutely one of the best Batman films ever. I mean, like, I don't know, I mean, I haven't rewatched The Dark Knight in a little bit still, so I have to rewatch that again, but, like, man, in ways I kind of like this one more than Dark Knight. Just, maybe it's just, like, the visual style and, like, some of the aesthetics and about the movie, how it really looks like a grungy Gotham City and like a comic book almost, but I don't know, I mean, the aesthetics alone make me like it a lot more than Dark Knight, but so there's a lot to like in this film. Like, this film really feels like Batman, like in a lot of ways, like how like you see him talking early on in his head at the start of the movie, like his inner thoughts, how you see just some of the action, some of the detective work, like it feels like Batman so much, like, it feels like it all works, like his relationship with Gordon, it's a solid movie, like almost. Like, my god. Pattinson is probably the best Batman in live action, I think. I mean, I love Ben Affleck, but I mean, I think he's great. I mean, of course, we didn't see enough of his Bruce Wayne. We definitely will probably in the sequel, but he was fantastic as Batman. Definitely just great. He was awesome. Everyone was awesome in this film, like Zoe Kravitz and Jeffrey Wright and Paul Dano, Andy Serkis, like Colin Farrell. Colin Farrell, by the way, awesome as a Penguin. That makeup, fantastic. Like, they should win an Oscar for that. They need to. They should. They have to. And just the cinematography and like the music, I mean, that score is still a banger. Like, I don't know, it's just everything was hitting the right mark for me in this movie. Like, honestly, like, even stuff when the Joker shows up at the end of the movie. Of course, like, when that happened, I was like, ah, man, like, did we really need the Joker? We don't need him. But like, I will admit, even though, yes, he probably was not necessary, it worked well. I thought it was an interesting scene how they set it up. It was, I don't know, it was a lot of fun, that scene for me. And I know a lot of other people do say the final battle is kind of tacked on, just pointless, but I don't know. I thought it was very fun. There's a lot of classic Batman stuff, him crashing through the window, and then the smoke bomb, jumping out and grabbing people. Like, I don't know. This feels so authentically Batman in a lot of ways, from the look, like the performances, and just the style of everything. It's just, like, it all feels just so Batman. Like, it's honestly a stellar movie. It's my favorite of the year. I didn't really talk a lot about spoilers, did I? Even though I said I would. Just everything was on the mark. Everything was just hitting perfectly in this movie for me. I definitely need to rewatch it again. Maybe my rating will go down, but as of right now, it still sits at 10 out of 10 for me. Just really solid movie. I just think it's just like peak Batman almost in film. Like again, Dark Knight's up there with it. I need to rewatch both of them again to compare them, but still, just it's really solid. Just a fantastic Batman movie and my favorite of the year. And before we end this video, I'm just gonna round off some honorable mentions. The Whale. Now, keep in mind, me saying The Whale as an honorable mention does not mean I think it's not a amazing movie, because it is an amazing movie. Like, Brendan Fraser in that film is fantastic. I hope he wins the Oscar for that performance. It's a great film, great story. It's a great movie. The only reason it's not in my top 10, because I'm not really sure if it's a film I would watch a lot more a little bit. It was close between Adam Project and that for number 10. But yeah, I would watch Adam Project maybe a little bit more than The Whale. The Whale is just a lot more in, like, you know, in emotions and trauma. It's a lot and heavy on that, so it's not something I don't think I would watch, like, I would watch constantly. Definitely I'm going to watch it maybe another time soon, so yeah, but still, it's an absolutely great movie. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. This was originally on the top 10 list, but as the year went on and more films came out, it slowly got bumped off the list. And also, now as time's gone on as well, I will admit, the story is probably not the strongest part of the film. It's definitely probably the weakest of it, but it's still a really fun and entertaining film. And of course, having Sam Raimi directing it, you can feel his style all throughout the movie. It's just a super fun, just entertaining film. Plus the cameos in that, and the visuals, and like some of the creative magic stuff to do, like that music note scene, like just some great stuff. It's a really engaging, fun movie. Chippendale Rescue Rangers. Just, you know, it was kind of like a modern day-esque Roger Rabbit. It's just a lot of fun seeing those kind of cameos, references, and Easter eggs. It's just, yeah, fun movie, very solid. Violent Night. It's like John Wick meets Santa Claus. You basically know what you're getting yourself into if you know that premise, or if you, of course, just see the poster for it and it says Violent Night. It's like, okay, I can probably guess what it's gonna be. But still, it's a fun movie. It's very engaging. They do some creative and fun stuff. David Harbour is very fun. It's just kind of like just withered older version of Santa. And they're making a sequel apparently, which I think is just kind of pointless. But you know, this first film was still great. Yeah, Violent Night was a lot of fun. And that's it for me in this top 10 list for the best movies of 2022. Tell me, what did you all think of this list? Did you agree with my list? Did you not agree with my list? Please tell me in the comment section down below. What was your top 10 favorite movies of the year? I'd love to know all your thoughts. And once again, go check out my letterbox if you want to see more full in-depth reviews for all these movies. The link is down in the description below. And I do regularly review movies constantly, so there's a lot of reviews for a lot of older and newer movies, and also reviews for rewatched movies I've seen before, so go check it out. I'm always reviewing stuff over there. Go check it out so I can stop talking, because I can't talk anymore, clearly. But yeah, that's it for this video. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will see you all at the worst movies of the year, because that'll be fun. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys all later. Goodbye.